What is going on, guys? My name is Fernando Herrera, and today we're going to be talking about a recent trip I made to Disneyland and the things that you should be keeping an eye for, especially if you're going back after this long due pandemic. Now, this video is also going to be very relatable for those who have kids, so especially if you're going to be traveling with kids, because my wife and I traveled to Disneyland with 2 kids, and it was quite an adventure trying to find strollers and these strollers that they do admit and that they don't, and just the type of rides or the type of things that you can do in Disneyland. But overall, again, I'm going to be talking about like the hotels, how to get to Disneyland, and some tips that can help you save some money, but at the same time, I guess, enjoy or have a pleasurable experience at the park. Now, before we continue, please help me by smashing that like button and consider subscribing, especially if you're interested in lifestyle tips. I have videos like these being posted every week, especially on Fridays. So again, if there's something you're interested, I invite you to just smash that like button and subscribe. But thank you so much for watching. Now let's go ahead and continue. I want to start off by saying the obvious. So when I started picking the dates of me to visit Disneyland, I decided to go on the least the busiest days, because if you've been to Disneyland, you know that lines could tend to get very busy, especially if you're looking into doing Disney maybe 1 or 2 days. You know, you're probably not going to be able to ride all the rides within just 1 day. And with long lines, it's like you might be lucky to just get like 6 rides or maybe 4 rides. Now, when doing this, I decided to do some research, and it turned out to be that February, in the beginning of February, was going to be like the perfect time to go to Disney because it's the least busy along the year. Well, this strategy actually ended up backfiring, because what I noticed was when we were in the Disney park, there's several lanes that people could do, or certain rides or carts on rides that, you know, allow capacity for a specific ride. But I noticed that a lot of these lanes were closed simply because Disney wants you perhaps to wait that much in line. You know, they have everything planned where they want you to wait approximately 45 to 1 hour or 45 to 60 minutes per ride. And so by you going on a busier day, that just means that they will have less people and less rides, or I guess the carts to go around to, you know, at the end, they're really gonna be controlling the line, the wait line. So if you're doing this for the rides, it might impact just not that much. Also, by going on the days that it's not as busy, normally some attractions will be closed, because I think Disney just goes and says, hey, you know what? These are the days that least amount of people will be affected by this. So let's close and do remodeling and close some specific shows or attractions during these slower days. So in my case, unfortunately, I wasn't able to see any of the fireworks show with my kids or the Fantasmic show because I didn't realize that it was under renovation. And so unfortunately, we got to see absolutely no Disney Magic fireworks show. Now, a tip here is that if you are going, make sure you go on a weekend, because apparently right now, currently, there's only fireworks shows on the castle, you know, like a little fireworks show behind the Disney castle on weekends only. But during the week, we went for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There's absolutely no shows other than just castle projections. It's nice, it's a nice show, but it's not like the fireworks. The second thing I do want to talk about is the new Genie Pass. So what is Genie Pass? Because the last time I went to Disney was in 2018 when Fast Pass was still a thing. And so now they completely changed it to this new thing called Genie Pass. Genie Pass, honestly, it's like a package that you could buy as an add-on on a daily basis. It costs $20 per person, which is a bit pricey, but honestly, sometimes I feel you might be able to find the value. So for us, we bought Genie Pass the first day and the second day. The third day we stayed at Disney, we actually didn't use the Genie Pass, and we decided to do standby lines. And it turned out to be not as bad as I thought it was. But what do you get with Genie Pass? Well, honestly, again, it's just Fast Pass, or now they call it the Lightning Lane, or access to Lightning Lane, and you pretty much request these Fast Passes through your phone. So there's no physical tickets anymore, and you pretty much just scan the barcode on your phone, or you scan your ticket, and that's how, I guess, the computer knows that you have a Lightning Lane pass. What I didn't like about the Lightning Pass, at least when I went, was that you can only get 1 pass per ride, and you can only get 1 pass every 2 hours. Now, again, this is kind of unfortunate, because if on the first day I got a very popular attraction that wasn't going to be available until like 1 p.m. Well, that means from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. I can't use any more fast passes until I've used that other attraction. Also, the thing was that once I get to ride a specific attraction, and if I want to ride it again using a lightning lane or the lightning pass, I can't, because it tells me that I can only use lightning lane passes once a day. And then finally, the last thing I didn't like about this lightning pass, or this genie pass, was that you don't even get access to all of the rides lightning pass. So some rides like Rise of the Resistance or the Spider-Man Slings web sliders or something like that, it's like you still have to pay $7 or $20, and that was in my case. I know that the price might vary, but you still have to pay extra to access to those lightning lanes. So just think about it. You already paid your Disney ticket. You already paid $20 for this lightning pass or genie pass, right? Or genie access, whatever. And then you still have to pay $20 to ride through the lightning lane for the Rise of the Resistance. It's like, that's $40 extra that, I don't know, I just think it's like on top of on top of on top, which in this case, I kind of get it, because there is a lot of people at Disney. Even when I went, I thought it was going to be less busy, but it was just super busy. So I can only imagine how it gets during the summertime. So I can see why Disney, maybe they're not really doing this because they want the money. They're really just doing it to filter out people who just, because there's just too many people. It's more like people control, just controlling the amount of people that actually get to ride the ride, and making sure that you're not having more people walking into the standby line than the actual people that are going through the ride. Overall, Genie Pass does include photo access, which I thought was pretty cool, which, they have employees around the park with cameras that will allow you to take a nice picture for you with you and your family. And if you have Genie Pass, they'll give you access to these pictures for free. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is strollers. So again, if you don't have kids or you're not going to need any strollers, then you can skip to the fourth thing. But if you have kids, for me, stroller was very important. And my wife and I thought that we were going to be, playing the game by, taking our push wagon stroller to Disneyland, because last time we went, we saw that a lot of people had these wagons. But unfortunately, when we got there, the security guards told us that these wagons are no longer allowed in the park, which was quite a bummer, because we didn't have any other stroller and we had to go back to the hotel. Or at the end of the day, that first day, they ended up helping us store or, kind of like safeguard that stroller. But we still had to rent out one of their own theme park strollers, which was $18 for just a single stroller, or $36 for a double twin stroller. I mean, you would assume that you would get a discount if you get the double stroller, but it seems to be that it's not the case. So if you're going to be going with kids and you're gonna wanna take a stroller because you don't wanna have them walking all day and then eventually you carrying them, you want to make sure that it's not a push wagon, a carry wagon, or pull wagon, any sort of wagon. There will be people that have wagons inside, but they told us that these are people who either need it because of certain health conditions, or they have a special disability that, requires them to have these wagons. But I would probably recommend, if you're just staying for one day, maybe renting the stroller from Disney makes sense. But if you're going to be staying more than 2 days or up to 3 to 4, then I would recommend just going to Target, and which is like 5 minutes away, and probably buying a double stroller. Or if you have one already, then just take one. And again, that's if you have 2 kids. If you have one, then just a cheap $18 stroller should do fine. But with those cheaper strollers, I'm a bit tall and it kind of hurts my back, once you're like bent and pushing a kid all day long. Now, the fourth thing I want to talk about is how much to expect in spending in food. So food overall is always kind of pricey at Disney. However, I found myself that this time I went, there was some pretty good selections and for not that much of a price. Also, with their new app, you can actually order any sort of food through the app. Now, not all restaurants allow you to do pickup, through your mobile app ordering, but for those that do, it's actually quite efficient, because rather than standing up in line, you could be doing a standby line on, an attraction or a ride. You can order your food, schedule it to be picked up at a certain time. Once you get there, you say you're there, and within a 1 minute to 2 minutes, they'll give you a green light that you could go and pick up your food, and it's that simple. If you want to eat just casual dining, you know, not like a restaurant, then you could expect to spend anywhere between $12 to $16 per plate. And these are not very big sized plates. If you like to eat a lot, then probably these plates might not be sufficient for you, or you might need more than one plate. But for me and my wife, actually, it was always a decent amount of food. For kids, honestly, I would recommend you just make some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and you know, just give it to them throughout the days, and then you could just kind of buy some snacks. The snack that I will recommend that you have to try if you go is the new Star Wars blue milk, the blue milk, the green milk, and the Tydra or something like that. That's like a swirl of like chili powder and like the green milk smoothie. Now these smoothies, again, I'll kind of try to find out if they are what they are, but I think they're like fruit smoothies, and they're actually pretty good. But again, don't get too stingy and buy a whole bunch of them, because I bought like 2 of them, you know, one for my daughter and one for me. And then my wife had her own, but at the end, my daughter didn't end up finishing hers, so I drank that one too, and I didn't feel that good. Now finally, about the restaurants, if you want to be eating in a more restaurant-based, you know, kind of like eating with characters, or you want to sit down on a restaurant and be served by a waiter, sometimes these restaurants could be very, very expensive. But you know, the ones like breakfast with a character is anywhere between $60 to $80 per person. And it's more like a buffet where they kind of give you some food and you could go and get more food, you know, as you please. Honestly, having a Vegas perspective on this one, I don't think the Disney food for the buffet was worth the price, especially here in Vegas. If you're paying $50 for a buffet, it's going to be a top-notch buffet. And to paying, you know, $60 to $80 on a Disney buffet, that's actually not very good food. So if you're going to sit down on a buffet or one of these experiences, it's more for the experience and not really the food, at least in these mid-level restaurants. I don't know, I've never dined on the high-end restaurants, but at least the mid-level restaurants. Now, the last thing I want to talk about or give some tip is on how to get to Disneyland, you know, whether you're staying close or whether you're staying far. Are you going to walk, shuttle, take their parking? Well, I'm going to talk just briefly how it's working in 2022. You could always use their parking, which you have to pay. Now, you could always get a hotel close enough. Like, for example, we stayed in a hotel where it was just a 15-minute walking distance, which the first day we did walk to the park, but we ended up finding out that if we walk back towards the end of the day, you're already very, very tired, and to walk back 15 minutes, it's kind of like a dreadful experience. So I would recommend you either do 2 things. You either get a hotel that's maybe less than 5 minutes of walking distance, which you can calculate now with any iPhone or Google Maps, you know, website, or you could simply get a hotel that's farther away and you can get an own private hotel shuttle. Now, these are not very expensive. You know, some hotels that are not near the Disney park offer free Disneyland shuttles that are a lot more reliable than the public transportation, because the hotel where we stayed at required us to use just the public bus. And, you know, I still had to pay like $36 for my whole family, which we're a family of 4. And the small boy didn't have to pay because he was 2 years old. But still, I found that that bus was highly unreliable. We had to wait anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes just for the bus to get there. And then on our way back from Disneyland, there's always like a whole bunch of people that are fighting their way through to get to this bus. So it's quite energy draining to, you know, have to fight throughout the day in this Disneyland park now to go back to your bus and, you know, trying to squeeze yourself in. That's just not a fun experience. But overall, guys, that is it for all my experience for my Disney trip on 2020. This is the Disneyland park in California, obviously, but this is all the tips I would give to someone who's thinking and going to Disneyland, at least in 2022. If you're going more than 3 days, I would probably say get the Genie Pass the first day, try it out, see what you like it. If you don't, standby line's not that bad, especially because you get to spend some time with your kids, you know, and even though it's a line, you get to talk to them and see how they react and, you know, kind of like plan your day out a little bit better. And even, believe it or not, sometimes get to rest, because some of these waiting lines have places where you can sit. Also, if you are going to Disneyland, this is just a side note, you have to try Rise of the Resistance, the ride. Even if it's a 2-hour wait, trust me, it's gonna be 100% worth it. If you've never ridden this ride, or even if you're not a fan of Star Wars, it's so much fun. It's very, very impressive. So you have to ride that ride for sure. Finally, don't forget to, just buy some snacks, churros, popcorn, smoothies, drinks, that turkey leg that's like as big as my face. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Let me know what are your pro tips. Maybe I can use them next time I go to Disney. But these are the tips I would recommend. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.